Arkansas State athletics and some homecoming. We're joined by a very familiar face in the Arkansas State athletics community, but first, roll the theme song. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of Red Wolf Roundtable. Hi, guys. I'm Tristan Harlan. Sitting to my far right is my good friend, my good compadre, my brother from another mother, Cooper, the Juice Box Melder. And sitting in the middle is a guy that everybody should know is Brad, the Destroyer, Bobo.
Is that what we're going with?
Yes. That's what we're going to go with for now.
All
so,
right.
Mr. Bobo, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me. It's a new one for me. I'm excited.
Now, understand you got a little bit of breaking news you wanted to break with us today.
Well, yeah, you could say that.
Okay.
So, as we speak, and I think that's an accurate statement, over at Centennial Bank Stadium, not only is the A-State football team getting ready for its homecoming game, but up in the stands, there's action taking place as well because construction is underway on a brand new multi-level deck inside the student section that all intents is that thing's going to be up and open for business Saturday night.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
So are we students going to be up there? We're going to have a DJ? So what's the plan?
The plan will be, yes, to all of that. It is for students. If you're sitting there kind of on the field looking into the stands, it'd be both of those sections, right, of the Sound of the Natural State. Mm-hmm. That whole thing's intended to be student section. This will be up sort of toward the top of the student section. We still want plenty of action with naked guys and everybody else down on the wall making noise. But at the top of the student section, it's going to be this area that'll hold, and honestly could hold a few hundred people. Right. There's going to be tables, chairs, places to sit. Since obviously it's clear that you guys as students like to spend game days out in trees. I think it's going to have trees on it.
Okay.
So it's an easy acclimation to come into the stadium and be in the trees still. And I even think Saturday night the homecoming court's going to be on it for the maiden voyage too. So that's where everything is trending right now. That thing will be up and functional for homecoming.
Right. So what kind of led into this? Like, is it something that you guys been brewing for a while now, or spur of the moment? Like, what went into this?
So, here's the realest answer to that question is that really you start at the top with Dr. Shields, the chancellor, Jeff Purinton, the AD, Coach Butch Jones. They all are, I'll just say it, they're obsessed with providing an experience in that stadium that makes the students want to come from the Pines into the vault and help us win games. And so they're leaving no stone unturned. And one of the things this year, kind of one of the changes was moving our in-game DJ King Vic, came from up in the booth to down in the student section. He will go up. Mm-hmm. Hopefully the plan is to have him up on the deck as well. So all of this is done sort of in the name of providing a better game experience for A-State students.
Right. So is this kind of the first thing of many, or is it kind of a one-of-its-kind type deal?
Well, I would say it's hopefully not the first because we've done other things, right? Obviously, it's the biggest. It's going to be the thing that's most obvious. There is, I would say, probably not a secret to this point that there's some activity over at First National Bank Arena as well,
right,
as it pertains to the students. And that you guys, if you're watching this, you're an Arkansas State University student, your section is switching ends at First National Bank Arena. And here's the deal. If you go back, here's a history lesson.
Okay.
If you probably go back to the origins of the place, the student section's probably always been where it was, and that used to be by the visitors' bench. Mm-hmm. What happened is there was a point in time that the benches flipped.
Gotcha.
And it was because as things changed and the building evolved back in the back, it got to where the teams had to cross each other in the hallways at halftime or post game, and that's not what you're at. So at that point in time, the bench is flipped, and since then, the student section's been by the Arkansas State bench, which meant they're behind the Arkansas State basket in the second half.
Right.
And that's not what you're after, right? So to provide, again, twofold, a better, hopefully a more fun environment for the students, but also in turn, like, right, we want that to directly generate to a better home court advantage. We decided actually this time last year that we were moving the students for this season from the end they were on to the opposite end, where they're by the visitors bench. That entire end, so if you're familiar with the arena, we're talking sections A, B, C, D. That entire end is just going to be students and the band and our spirit squads. And so now the point is we spent a year putting this in place. So now it's we're kind of give it to you guys, say, hey, make this the right move.
Yes.
Like don't make me look goofy for pushing for this, because I wanted to do it the day I walked in the door.
Right.
And there's some things you got to do, and there were season ticket holders sitting in those sections, and they all gracious enough to kind of change ends. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody's on board with doing this for the students. So I thought student attendance at basketball was pretty good last year, and so we need to ramp it up a notch. And again, make this the right move. Make us look smart for moving the students down by the visitors.
Yes, and back to the party deck area in the football stadium.
Yep.
Are there going to be activities maybe up there for students while they're up there?
I think, let's just say I think that will evolve, right?
Okay.
I think at some point, like when you're literally building this thing, homecoming week, you're going to have to kind of let it just sort of play out. It'll start out sort of organic. And I think by the time you finish this season and look to next, I think it could be interactive or even competitive as to what students are on that deck. And that's not it now, but ultimately I think it could turn into a competitive piece. It's something you compete for, you fight for the right to get on that deck. I think there's all kinds of options moving forward, but I think for the short term, it's, hey, check it out. Let's turn it into a fun space and a space where, look, student turnout to me has been really good those first 3 football games, and everybody thinks that. So we need to ramp that up a notch, and then kind of step 2 is let's don't start that post game too soon.
Right.
Like, let's actually get to the post game before we start our post game celebrating. And hopefully this deck is another way to help bridge the gap, help tide everybody over until they can make it to their real post-game activities.
Right, and kind of flipping focus to the basketball arena at some point. I mean, you kind of said it's been a year in the making now. What real impact does this have on maybe students and sort of the games? What kind of environment are you guys looking to create with moving the student section to the other side?
What do you think?
I mean, I can give you my answer, but I want to hear what you got to say.
Well, I mean, I think it's going to be the same answer, right? I mean, the point is, everything's done in the name of, at the end of the day, it's what move can you make to help us? I mean, if it's 1/10 of 1%, more likely to win a game, then let's take that 1/10 of 1%. There's no magic. Like, they don't call it a home court advantage because you get to wear your white jerseys at basketball. And it's the opposite in football. It's your dark jersey at home. That's not why people want to play at home. They want to play at home because they want to play in front of their fans, because they think their fans will give them a better chance to win. That's what we want to do here. The atmosphere at that Southern Miss game was really good. And here's the thing. You look at that football stadium. The way it's built, because it literally was dug a deep hole in the ground 50 years ago, it doesn't, I want it full every time, but it doesn't have to be loud. Right? It was probably, it was, by the time the Southern Miss game was on the line, it was probably half full. And people left there talking about it was the best atmosphere in years. That's not the games we play in timeouts. That's not the graphics we put on the board. It's not the number of replays we play. It's not the songs DJ King Vic plays. It's none of that. The difference is the fans had a mindset that when the game was on the line, they got into it and helped Arkansas State win the game. That's what we're after all the time, whether it's football, basketball. So is this a move that can help us win a game? If it does one time, it's worth it.
Yes.
To get the students down there, we've got the band, and I want our friends in New Orleans to know we're within the rules with the band legally as close as we can get them to the visitors bench and stay within the rules, because it's important that we stay within the rules.
Yes.
So we've got the band as close as we can get them, and there'll be a chance to have students in front of them, and the entire section to where when a game's on the line down the stretch, and if an opponent needs to go to the line and hit 2 free throws, we hope that's next to impossible for them to do.
Right. And kind of, I'm going to flip-flop a little bit here, but kind of want to talk more about the whole football renovation, stuff like that. But, looking at the party deck now, but can you see it maybe in the future becoming something where Greek life could get more involved with it?
Yes, and that's kind of what we're talking about. Ultimately, if it's a competitive type
Right.
thing, that's sort of what we mean. It'll be honest, we've sort of gone to the drawing board and gone again trying to find the magic sauce with that group. And so we'll keep trying. One thing that's still in place, has been all season and still is and I'll say this here just in case for some reason you don't know it. We've got a contest going on that's been going on all season, and we'll go through these last 3 home games as well, to where when you come into the stadium, at the top of the student section, both entrances, there's an A-frame sign with a QR code on it. So if you're in the A-State app, you need to scan that QR code. When you do, it checks you in as being at the game. Okay? So then when the game ends, I'll go back and I've got access to look at who all checked in. We then randomly, we use the random generator thing to spit out a number and a name associated with it, and that's our student of the game.
Okay.
And we'll put together a prize pack, swag bag type stuff for that student. But really, what that student also gets to do is tell us what registered student organization they represent.
Okay.
So whatever that is, like we've had Alpha Kappa Alpha, this is one for example. So the student of the game, that's the organization they represent. So that organization goes into the drawing. So at the end of the season, there are going to be 6 pieces of paper, if you will, with 6 organizations written on it. And we'll pull one out, and the one we pull out, that organization gets to have a function in the club level of the Allison Tower at Centennial Bank Stadium.
Wow.
So there are already 3 organizations in there. There are 3 more to go. And here's the thing. Like, it could be the same organization that happens to have somebody get their name pulled all 3 times. It's not, hey, once your organization's in there, once you're done. You can stack the deck. The more people you get to go check in your organization, the better chance your organization has of having somebody picked that's going to put you in that drawing. So the individuals, the student of the game, they get prizes, but then they get to choose what organization they put into that final drawing when it's all over.
Right.
That's just great. And speaking of just the big party deck, how big is it going to be? Like, how many people will it be able to hopefully fit up there?
Let me just say hundreds right now.
Okay.
Because I think you'll be surprised when you see it, like what the drawings of that look like, and in trying to now kind of see that drawing, to see kind of today, literally was the first day of construction on it. It's going to, it's essentially going to cover a big portion of both the last of each of those last 2 sections. So basically like 2 sections wide.
Right.
And plus 2 layers deep. So it's going to be plenty of room over there. And I can't wait to see it myself. Can't wait for the students to see it and hopefully start taking advantage of it.
Right. Well, Mr. Bobo, I want to thank you so much for coming on here, breaking this news with us here at Red Wolf Roundtable. And guys, we're going to send it to a short break. When we come back, Cooper and I are going to have our reactions on this and talk about some more things for the student body. Stick around. You're watching Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV.
ASU-TV, covering all your favorite sports. From Red Wolf Roundtable to Westside football and more, ASU-TV has you covered. Tune in now to ASU-TV for news and coverage on these sports and more.
At Arkansas State, we want you to go. Go where learning soars, takes flight, and rockets ahead. Go for experiences, internships, and scholarships. We want you to go. Become A-State Maine. Are you ready to go? Go.astate.edu for details.
Hello and welcome back to Red Wolf Roundtable. Again, Mr. Bubba, we just want to thank you again for coming on the show and breaking this news here at Red Wolf Roundtable. But Cooper,
Yes.
I kind of want to get your reaction to the news.
You know, I honestly am shocked. I am excited about it because we've kind of known, hey, we have some breaking news we want you to know involving the student section. And so we were really wondering, what is it going to be? Because we were like, maybe it's a DJ, but we saw throughout the year that King Vic, the DJ, he's been in the student section. And so it's really been a mystery, and to see what it is now is really exciting, and hopefully that can start bringing in more and more people. And honestly, I need all my boys in Fight Out to check in real quick at the game, because I want to be able to go up in that Johnny Allison Tower in a nice little suite and be able to have a little party. That's all I got to say.
Hey, man, you gonna let your boy come?
Oh, of course, of course.
Mr. TC, you already know you got to let your boy come out if y'all win that. But Cooper, just looking at this as a grand scheme, we're students. Everybody that runs this show, except for our engineers and Mr. Sullivan, are all students. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
And this isn't the Cooper Melder that's on Red Bull Roundtable. This is
Yes.
Cooper Melder, student,
All right.
Arkansas State member of Fight Out. Is this a good thing for the student body?
Yes, it is. I mean, you're talking about a little party deck. Some people, when you go to the student section, normally you're standing up all game, getting loud, cheering, because that's what a student section does. So the little party deck, there's going to be chairs up there. Maybe you want to go up there and be able to just chill out for a moment, relax, have you a soda pop, have a hot dog, just chill out. But I think it's a very great thing. And if King Vic's up there, have some music, and maybe if you're feeling into it, have a little dance off up there.
Okay, a little dance
A little boogie with it.
Get a little jiggy.
Yeah.
What's your go-to dance move?
My go-to dance move? I don't know. I'm just gonna say gritty. Call me Justin Jefferson.
But Cooper, just kind of looking at it for a game day's perspective, Mr. Butwell talked about the whole idea of getting students into the Pines, but just looking at it from a Centennial Bank standpoint, how do you think this is going to affect the way game days are treated in J Vegas now that we have something to this extent to where students can get more involved?
I hope it affects it positively. I hope they're able to want to come in. I hope it's a good incentive to come into the game, because at the end of the day, we just want the student body to come into the game and enjoy, get loud, get into the game. And it's homecoming. It's homecoming. We need you all there. Don't leave after they announce your little sorority sweetheart. If she made homecoming court, stay for the game. We're playing Coastal Carolina. It's going to be a great game. Just stay, watch football. And if you don't like football, go to the party deck. Chill out, dance. I don't care. But before we continue on this, basketball finally by the bench. I like it.
Yeah, Cooper. I mean, you're moving the basketball student section to the visiting bench, and it's kind of something we've been waiting to see for a long time, because you go back and some of the best games in First National Bank Arena this past year was when the ice storm hit Jonesboro. All the students, they were kind of trapped here, not able to go home, not able to go out and do a lot of things because of the ice on the road. So they were able to walk across the First National Bank Arena, kind of get loud, get rowdy, but now that they are moving it to the other side of the arena to where some of the visiting players are getting into their heads, I'm going to be excited to see how this kind of changes the dynamic atmosphere of First National Bank Arena, because we've said it on air on the show 1,000 times, if not 1,000,000 times. Fans make or break games, and we've challenged students to come out to games. We've challenged students to come out to basketball games, and what you're going to hear in a little bit talking about some of the teams and why you need to be hyped around them. this is going to be kind of the turning point, I think, for not only our time here at Arkansas State and the class above us, but I think this is going to set a new precedent for the remaining students that come to Arkansas State University until they make more changes, because the thing is, dynamic atmospheres are what make college athletics. I mean, you're not going to go to a professional game and see what you can see at a big-time Division I school. So you come to Arkansas State, and this could be even a recruiting thing. You come to Arkansas State, and who's to say that First National Bank Arena doesn't get listed as the most rowdiest place to play basketball next year? Just saying the hypothetical. It's not saying it's going to happen, but what's kind of be the kind of turning point for the teams to kind of want to play better, and for more season ticket holders to come and buy these season tickets to kind of come to the games? Because let's be real, First National Bank Arena, it's an older arena.
It is.
And now that you're kind of getting more of this atmosphere and this crowd and the student body to be more electric, more straight to the point where it comes to visiting players, we may see a clutch free throw or two missed, or a clutch three missed, or even maybe see a player ejected because somebody from some fraternity or sorority was just that electric towards that player.
So I'm glad you brought that up. What do you think might be the craziest thing? We're moving it right next to the bench. What do you think the craziest thing a fan student's going to do? Being that close to the bench, being able to get into those players' head, it's going to be wild.
The thing is with that is I hope they don't do nothing too serious, because at the end of the day, you got to show respect and sportsmanship. But if it's a rivalry game, like if it's a Coastal Carolina or if it's a conference game, go hey wild. Who cares? But my thing is we're really going to see the sort of passion between our student body. And, I would really like to see if maybe those who have that power maybe make it a thing with basketball too, where if these fraternities and sororities show up, whoever's the loudest gets a little extra incentive towards their, register or, whatever they've got going on. But, I think and I hope that when basketball season rolls around and more people start realizing what the athletic department is doing, I think it's going to be a very great sort of turn of the page for the basketball teams. And I think Coach Hodson and Coach Rogers and their staff, respectively, are going to call Arkansas State the best place to play basketball.
Yes, and for you students hearing about this, when can you get first access? We have a game coming up for basketball against in-state rival. It's an exhibition, UCA. Might as well start off the year strong. I know the game doesn't really matter record-wise, but it's your first time seeing the basketball team. You're playing UCA, an in-state rival. Might as well come in there and show them why they should have moved the student section a long time ago.
Yeah, and Cooper, that game is on October 30th, so that's the day before Halloween. So you got to come out and get spooky wooky.
Hey, show up in your costume.
Bro, if you guys come to that game, and of course, make sure you buy a ticket, because that is going towards a good cause to the people at Wynn that was affected by that tornado. But come in your costumes. That would be another chapter in the First National Bank story.
Tristan, real quick, a costume. What costume would you wear if you were in the student section?
Let's see. If I was probably 100 pounds slimmer, I'd probably come as Elvis.
Okay.
But since I am the way I am, the way God made me, because I'm beautiful and handsome the way I am, my mommy tells me every day, I probably would come as something funny just because I like to get that laugh off. So I'd probably come as either a sumo wrestler or Eric Cartman. Just to get that laugh. And I would probably even try to manipulate my voice to sound like Cartman. So when I'm talking to maybe a visiting player, I could, get at them and kind of get in their head, like, what is he talking about? And, just kind of scramble the brains a little bit.
Yeah. I would love to see you as Elvis Presley. It would be amazing, because I've known you for a long time. I've heard that beautiful, beautiful voice of yours singing Elvis Presley if we're doing graphics or if we're in the car, just chilling. Man, you and Jake Brewer, something about Elvis.
Hey man, it's that Memphis connection, and don't even get started on it.
Okay.
But Cooper, I'm so grateful Mr. Bobo came on and shared that news with us, and I think we had a good conversation about it. But we're going to send it to another short break. When we come back, we had some more news in the basketball side of things that we're going to announce, as long as our Day 1 and Day 2 winners of the scavenger hunt. Stick around. You're watching Red Wolf Roundtable here. Where at? On ASU-TV.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV news, Westside football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
What is up, Red Wolf Roundtable? Welcome back here on ASU TV. And you know what? We have some day 1 and day 2 winners of the Scavenger Scavaganza with the design shop. Big word there, Tristan.
Cooper, I didn't think you knew a word bigger than hello.
I
But
know,
yeah,
me
Cooper,
too.
so we are currently on day 2, moving to day 3 of the scavenger hunt, and we already have a set of winners. Day 1 and day 2 was won by 2 guys that Cooper knows very well, Clint Vines and Landon Mullins. Congratulations to them. And today's winner, all the way hailing from the group known as ASU-TV, the best filmmaker in this part of Arkansas, Mr. Jacob Osborne. So to those guys, congratulations. And for those of you that haven't won yet, don't get your hopes down, because we still got the rest of the week for this exciting scavaganza between us and the design shop. Over $200 worth of prizes each day, which making it $1,200 in total. And guys, you never know. Maybe these winners get to feature on ASU TV's Red Wolf Roundtable. You never know. Maybe they come on After Dark if Easton John allows it.
Maybe.
You never know. But speaking of winners, we had some people named to the All Sun Belt first and third team. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first team and work our way down.
Okay.
All the way from the women's basketball team, Coach Rogers' supporting cast, we have from Batesville, Arkansas, Miss Izzy Higginbottom, named to the preseason All Sun Belt first team.
I want to act surprised, but I mean,
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? I mean, this was an obvious choice. Obvious choice. Anything less than first team, I think I would have had to march down all the way to Alabama and have a talk with them. I would have been mad. I would have been ready to fight. But Izzy Higginbottom, shout out to you. You deserve it. And go prove why you're going to win Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year this year. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, I like it. Now moving on to the men's side, kind of a little bit of questionable rankings here for these 2 players, but we'll go ahead and start with the first one, the guy that we know very well, Mr. Terrence Ford Jr., named to the All Sun Belt third team. Now, Cooper, I don't know about you and how you feel about this one, but quite frankly, I think Terrence Ford possibly should have been on the second team, possibly could have even been on the first team.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one. Third team, I was like, really? Come on.
Right.
I mean, they obviously didn't watch film that well, but Terrence, go out, prove them wrong, and next year be on the first team.
Yeah, I mean, Terrence Ford, he was an electric player last season. He's going to be an electric player this season. And it's one of those things where, he's going to be must-watch TV when he starts getting on that court. But again, from the men's basketball team, this time still on the third team, new transfer from Torkelson State, the man from Searcy, Arkansas, Freddie Hicks, announced to the preseason All Sun Belt Conference third team. Now, this one I don't necessarily agree with. I'm not knocking his style of play. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but for his first season, has yet to play in any Sun Belt Conference basketball. I don't know if I like it. Of course, I do like it because he's an Arkansas State player, and I like to see the guys kind of, get recognition. But I just don't necessarily know if I agree with him being this highly ranked yet. Not saying he's a bad player. He's a great player. But my thing is it's the same thing with Jalen Rayner that we've kind of talked about early this season. Is the hype worth it yet? But, you're looking at these 2 players, 3 players really, and you're thinking, okay, 2 of the players we've seen before, why is Freddie Hicks that good? And, I'm going to kind of start it, and Coop, you're going to end it. But, if you go back and you watch some of Freddie Hicks last season while he was at Torkelson State, he was really a dynamic player when it came to how they wanted to spread the floor and how they wanted to kind of dive into the inside game. And, he graduated close to where we're from. That being Searcy, actually former guest host of Red Wolf Roundtable, Jake Williamson, who did our first ever bowl special with us, knows Freddie very well, because they're both from Searcy. But my thing is I think, and therefore I know that Freddie Hicks is going to have a great season, but I don't know if I agree with him being ranked this high just yet.
Now, I understand where you're coming from, but my 2 cents worth on it is this is voted on. The whole Sun Belt, how does this get ranking for the first, second, third? We're told it's coaches and certain media people and athletics. They all get a vote on it. And so my thing is, they're watching the film, and they really believe Freddie Hicks with Coach Hodgson by his side can be a lethal duo. So if they buy into what Coach has to say, I think, I'm just going to say I think, I'm not going to say I know, I think it could be something special to watch, because this men's basketball team, they're kind of, I don't think they're getting the respect they deserve, really.
Well, speaking of getting the respect they deserve, we do have the preseason rankings, and we're going to, since we're talking about the men, we're going to start with the men's preseason rankings, and we're going to go to the women. But if you look at the men's preseason rankings, Arkansas State comes in at 9th, not dead last, but not really middle of the pack neither.
Yeah.
I know at least 3 teams on there that we beat last year that there's no reason why we shouldn't be ahead of. I get we have a new coach and kind of a brand new team, but let's be real here. We dominated South Alabama. We really were better than Marshall. I mean, we talked about how Terrence Ford should have won Newcomer of the Year last year over the guy that played at Marshall that transferred to Florida. But my thing is, you know, it's another case of Arkansas State not getting their flowers, because they've proven time and time again that they have what it takes to play ball. And now it's just got a time where they got to really show people what they're made of, because let's be real, Terrence Ford and Isaiah Nelson together, that's a Kobe Shaq duo. And I hate comparing those two to Kobe and Shaq, but, you know, that's just a realistic kind of sort of throw out there. But really, it's going to be very interesting to see this scrimmage on October 30th against UCA, because it's going to kind of be the first time they're going to blend together in game-like action with Cooper looking at the women's side of things. This is where I'm kind of getting a little bit of hype for. We are ranked 8th in the women's basketball preseason poll. Now, it's, again, they're about the same place as the men were, but if you understand this, last season, Arkansas State's women's team, they got called out by Coach Rogers. And I'm sure this will get brought up.
Dead last.
Yeah, and I'm sure this will get brought up again later on when the season starts. But Coach Rogers, in a post-game conference, called out her team and said that they had no heart, that they did not care. What happened after that? They went on a big win streak, and they even went on to the conference tournament where they almost made it to the final round, but they ended up getting knocked out. And I can't remember who they got knocked out by.
It was a close game.
It was a close one. I think it may have been ULM. I'm not for sure. I think it was kind of an upset game there. But I know Izzy Higginbottom, she did get hurt last year, and a lot of people were writing her off early. But she was able to come back and, you know, show why she was who she said she is.
Yes.
And my thing is when this team gets hot, it's kind of like Cooper likes to say all the time, don't let the Red Wolves get hot, which is kind of funny because he said that last year, and they actually used that quote in a video. They didn't credit him, but nonetheless.
I'm not going to hold any grudge.
Nonetheless, especially with how these newcomers are coming on, which you're going to have newcomers all the time, but when this women's team gets settled, you have got girls like Bree Sutton, Lauren Pendleton, Melanie Kapinga, who's coming off her knee injury, Anna Griffin, who had a big shot last year in the conference tournament, Izzy Higginbottom, Malin Wilkerson, she's still here. It's just one of those things where you're kind of saying, okay, why not us? And again, this is something I say all the time too. Why not us? Why can't we win Sun Belt Conference? But here's my thing, and I kind of want everybody to kind of understand this where I'm coming from. And I'm not being a homer when I say this. This is probably one of the first times this whole episode you're going to hear us be positive until we get to the football segment where we're really going to break it down. But the thing is this team's talented, and that's no stranger there. We have shooting, we have rebounding. Yes, is there holes we got to fill? Or I'm sorry, can't say we. Is there holes that they have to fill? Yes, of course. Don't get me wrong. But Coach Rogers knows what it takes. She's very close with Dawn Staley, who's arguably the greatest women's coach of all time. She knows what it takes. Coach Ness knows what it takes. All the coaching staff for the women's basketball team knows what it takes. Coach Hodgson, he's from Alabama. Alabama just had one heck of a run. He knows what it takes. These people know what it takes to win, and it's just going to take everybody buying in early and coming out to First National Bank Arena to support these teams.
Yes, and you know what? Everything you said was true. And the one thing the rankings did get right, ULM was ranked lower than us on all of them, dead last in basketball, in the men's basketball and women's, I think 11th or 13th, whatever. Little bro, little sister, I mean, come on. Come on.
Right.
That's
Well,
all I
Cooper,
gotta say.
we're going to take another short break here. You guys are watching Red Wolf Roundtable here.
On ASU-TV.
Welcome back to Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU-TV in Cooper. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to end your date with Louie early, but it's time to talk about the real football that the people here in Jay Vegas care about the most. And it's, what the heck are you doing? Oh, no! I got bucket hecking. I'm going to get you. That's why I'm still the Mid-South Territorial Heavyweight Champion of the world.
I think you deserve that one.
Here to deliver the latest news on A-State sports, ranging from football, basketball, baseball, and more.
I'm your host, Tristan Harlan, alongside your other host, Cooper Melder.
Red Wolf Roundtable is your local sports source.
Tune in to Red Wolf Roundtable to get your fix on sports talk and news. Welcome back to Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU TV. And Cooper, I'm sorry to end your date with Louie early, but I got bucketed again. Louie, we miss you, Louie.
We do miss you.
Oh God, this brings back memories. I miss that British man so bad. Louie, please come back whenever you can. But guys, welcome back to Red Wolf Roundtable here on ASU TV, and of course, the legendary bucket's back, so that can only mean one thing. It's Coastal Carolina Hate Week.
Yes, it is.
This
Coastal
Saturday
Carolina.
from Centennial Bank Stadium. Homecoming week. Last year we played ULM. This year we're playing the Coastal Carolina Fried Chicken Chanticleers. And you're going to look at the stats here early, and you're thinking, okay, they're a 10.5-point favorite. Why should I care if Arkansas State's going to win this game or not? So you're looking at it, and you're thinking, okay, statistically they're better in almost every category. And again, you've seen that a lot.
Yes.
But here's the thing with this game I don't think a lot of people understand. Yes, Grayson McCall looks dangerous. Mm-hmm. Two-time Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year in football. Coastal Carolina, arguably one of the better teams in the past 5 years in this conference. But the thing is this year for the first time in a long time, we are very evenly matched.
Yes, we are. I mean, just looking at the points per game, yeah, they have a little bit more points than us, but besides the fact, it's a very, very winnable game. Because A-State, normally, last time we played Coastal at home, it was Thursday night football, and we got embarrassed on live TV.
In 2021, our first year here.
Yep. One thing I remember is 99-yard touchdown to the tight end. But you know what? We didn't have the bucket of chicken back then. We have it now.
Yeah, Cooper. And a lot of people are wondering, okay, how's this game winnable? And I want to bring up this thing. And it's not a quarterback matchup. It's not a receiver matchup. It's a defensive matchup, okay? So if you take a look at Coastal's last game against Appalachian State, which they won by 3, 27-24, you're thinking, okay, what are you guys talking about? Coastal Carolina, I've watched the highlights of this game probably a couple times, and this is the one thing I noticed about their offense. Their play action is deadly. They like deep shots over shallow shots, and what that means is they like taking deeper shots almost to the house, if not for large gains, than they do the shallow crosses. Now you're thinking, okay, what is that? That makes no sense. Well, and here's the thing I want everybody to understand. As you're going to see App State absolutely demolishing Coastal for a second. Mm-hmm. Big hit there. But what you don't realize is Arkansas State has struggled, and I mean struggled, in their deep zones and their deep coverages when players get out from 10 yards up. Now, what I'm saying is if Sammy Johnson, Justin Parks, and those guys can really rally behind not allowing explosive plays, and again, it's going to sound like a Butch Jones record story. Same thing over and over again. But if they cannot allow explosive plays, this game is winnable. And, of course, App State, another one of those big-time teams. But my thing is this. if you don't give up the long balls, if you don't give up explosive plays, and you allow maybe the occasional 5-6 yard pass here and there, this game's winnable because Coastal's defense is not as dangerous as it was when they played us 2 years ago. Our offense is a lot better with Jalen Rayner at the helm at quarterback. Grayson McCall, he has one thing going for him this season, that play action. He knows how to fake the handoff to where he can find the open man. There's a play from this game that I want to point out that I'm being strictly specific on. He fakes the handoff, and there's 3 defenders covering the receiver that ends up getting the catch. And when Grayson goes to hand it off, you see all 3 of those defenders look straight at Grayson and then straight at the running back, allowing their receiver to go off deep for a big-time play. Now, what I'm saying is this, and again, there's still a lot of injured Red Wolves that we have to get back. Ethan Hassler, you're my guy. I hope you get back soon. I know you got a dislocated knee, but hopefully you heal up and have a better college career. But my thing is this, and Coop, I'll send it to you here in a second, is if Sammy Johnson and Justin Parks cannot trip up themselves, and if the offense cannot get in their own heads, this game is going to be like Southern Miss. They're going to come in expecting a win, and they're going to lose. When Centennial Bank Stadium gets rowdy, gets crowded, it's going to be a home atmosphere that Arkansas State hasn't seen since the early 2010s. I'm telling you, and it's not a prediction, it's merely a spoiler. If fans come out for homecoming and they get out of the Pines and they create a home-like atmosphere, we're going to see Arkansas State win big, and it's going to be the turning point of this season. Now, Cooper, what do you got on this game?
My thing is, we saw it last week, and the reason we lost. The offensive line, they're going to have to protect Jalen Rayner.
Right.
He got hit too many times in the backfield. We couldn't get the run game going, so you really can't set up the pass game. With Jalen Rayner, you're going to see a new style of offense with the RPO. He likes to be able to, fake the handoff, roll out, and throw it. If you watch the UMass game, that's what he did perfectly. The O-line, they're going to need to set their blocks and hold it. If you can just let Rayner have 3 seconds or 4 or 5 seconds back in the backfield, he can either make a play using his arm or make a play using his legs. And with the D-line, if we can get in the backfield, stop the run game, that will set us up for perfection, which if they don't have no run game, they can't do the play action, which Grayson McCall likes. And we're going to just go ahead and see the quarterback comparisons. Grayson McCall not having a good passing year this year. We need to take advantage of that.
Right. And again, like I said last week, stats don't dictate everything. Grayson McCall is still a great quarterback, has a great arm. Now, when we're talking about quarterback matchups, I really want to come back to something I said when we went into the Troy week, where I said, don't get on the Rayner hype just yet. Wait until he sees a big-time Sun Belt Conference defense like a Troy did. Now, he didn't have the best game against Troy, but he didn't have a bad game. He didn't really have any turnovers. He still threw over 100 yards, and I think he completed a good majority of his passes. But here's my thing with this game. Jalen Rayner, I hope you're watching. Jeff Foreman, I hope you're watching. Corey Rucker, you better be watching. Because here's the thing. You guys are the 3-headed monster on this football team that I don't think a lot of people understand how to guard yet. Jeff, we talk about this all the time. You know what it takes to beat this team. Corey, you got to know what it takes to beat this team. You've got to have some sort of vengeance on your mind because you were on the team when they came here and beat the snot out of us. Rayner, I get you're young, and I get you're younger than me, but come on, guy. You got to have fire. If you have 3 seconds in the pocket, I promise you, Arkansas State's going to win.
Yes.
Grayson McCall, if you go back and watch any Coastal game for the course of this season, he has at least 6 seconds to throw the ball. We have 2 receivers that should be leading the Sun Belt Conference in catches and receiving yards, but one is still hanging out in Columbia, South Carolina, and the other one just hasn't found a stride yet, which is fine. But my thing is, and real quick before we send it, Cooper, what's your score prediction?
Score prediction, A-State back on track. We're going to win in a good one, 34-31.
Right. I think Arkansas State's going to win it 41-20. What'd you say?
I said 34-31.
Okay, I was going to say 41-21. But I think if we get the protection and Corey Rucker comes back from Columbia, South Carolina, I think we'll have a good game, a great game, even a better game. And I think Arkansas State's going to turn some heads in the Sun Belt Conference. But ladies and gentlemen, This has been it for Red Wolf Roundtable this week. Hopefully next week when we come back here on ASU-TV Tuesday at 4 p.m., we will talk about an Arkansas State victory. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week.